Live Sunday worldwide broadcast. I am your host, Alex Jones. The news websites are Infowars.com and it's Mirror Backup, but it carries some exclusive news, so it's not really a mirror. PrisonPlanet.com. You can follow us on Twitter at RealAlexJones. We also have several big Facebooks and more. You can find all that at Infowars.com, as well as the free podcast, iPhone, Droid apps for the show, the free video feeds, everything on the listen page at Infowars.com or Infowars.com/show. And please save those links, but also send them on to friends and family. That's how we wake people up. Here's what I want to get into first. The incredibly important developments that are taking place in Syria and Iran, and politically the different things that Obama has been up to internationally in an attempt to distract away from the 7 big scandals that they have running here at home. And if you count Obamacare and its implementation, causing even his own camp followers and useful idiot minions to freak out, if you add that, it's 8 big scandals. But of all the scandals, I personally think the most important is the concerted, conscious attack on free speech and on the press in this country. And in the last 4 days, there have been 5 different developments dealing with the attack on free speech. And they've also caught the IRS head who lied to Congress in her emails and directives saying target Tea Parties, libertarians, conservatives, Christian groups, pro-life groups, calling them dangerous and saying we want to shut them down. Now, we already knew this. They've not audited one socialist or communist or Maoist organization that they run. And that's what these people are. They've not gone after one of those the last 5 years. It has been a reign of terror. Even the New York Times has had to admit, Wall Street Journal, Washington Times, we're going to go over all of it, against anybody who is not basically left of Lenin or Stalin. By the way, and I meant to tell you guys to print this, and I forgot. Will you print me the AP and WorldNet Daily articles on the unbelievably out of control Attorney General Holder? No, not Fast and Furious, not all that stuff. No. I'm talking about the guy who goes to consortium meetings with big socialist churches and black churches and openly tells them how to get around the unconstitutional, I should add. Basically tells them ignore it. IRS rules on churches not being politically involved. That's now come out. Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, of course that's the way this works. Plus, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The federal government has no jurisdiction over churches and what they do. They could have giant signs outside saying vote for Elmer Fudd if they wanted to. It's called the First Amendment. But before we go any further, I want to shift gears into the big issue here, and that is the disintegration of Obama's credibility on the world scene. And even though Obama is a globalist front man, a puppet, a figurehead, a logo, still his cult of personality has been very successful for a lot of different disparate special interests to really be able to loot and rob this country of its resources, its tax money, and its freedoms in the last 5 years. More freedom, and many historians have agreed with me on this, more freedom has been lost the last 5 years than in 230 years before it. So many historians have pointed out there's always an acceleration at the end of a curve in the trajectory of tyranny. Once a free society loses its propulsion, you kind of drop out of the sky like a rock. And we've reached that free fall point, but we've also reached the point where people are ready to wake up. Now, you'll remember Obama had Kerry about 3 weeks ago come out and say, when the chemical attack happened, that clearly Assad had done it. And then the rebels uploaded videos bragging how they'd done it. And then the Russians tested it and said it was the rebels. Now the U.S. military has come out That only was on Infowars.com and WorldNetDaily.com. But it is a U.S. military Pentagon report saying that they got test samples of it, and it's homemade, the Al-Qaeda chemical weapons, and that it's clearly Al-Qaeda doing it to get a war with Assad. There's a new national poll out, 75%, a scientific poll of U.S. military who were questioned said they're against the strike completely. And then when they talked to the people individually, well, there was one in what Army.mil actually was linked over to military.com covering it. But I'm going to get to that in a little while. It's in my stack. And the people they questioned said, we know no one who supports an attack on Syria backing Al-Qaeda to be Al-Qaeda's air force. So we don't know where you even found. It was like 20% were for it, 5% undecided, and or 4% undecided, and then 75+% against. The point is that the military is against this. And when the military 2 weeks ago went to Facebook and Twitter with images in uniform holding up signs saying, I didn't sign up for the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, depending on what sign, what person it was, I didn't sign up to be the Air Force or the Army for Al-Qaeda. CNN and others came out and said, because we were the ones that broke that we were full of it, and that it was propaganda and fake photos. Now you notice they don't say that on CNN. All week they've been saying, arrest whoever criticizes this policy. Well, you don't have a right, you have a duty under the Bill of Rights, Constitution, under the oath you swear, and under the Nuremberg Code from 1946. If you want to look up that up or watch a historical film, it's excellent. Judgment at Nuremberg. Following orders makes you just as guilty as those that give you legal orders. You have a duty, not just a right, to say no to unlawful orders. I mean, if you know Al-Qaeda is the main force, there's new studies, British government says half of them are Al-Qaeda. CFR says 60%. If you know the main group is Al-Qaeda and you're giving them arms, and Al-Qaeda, the head of Al-Qaeda last week was in Reuters Friday. In fact, pull me that out of the stack, guys. I forgot that piece of news. And Reuters saying, attack the U.S. after Syria. And he's the head of al-Nusra. Well, he's also the head of Al-Qaeda. But Zawahiri. So the military knows this is Al-Qaeda. They know Assad didn't offensively attack anybody. And it's known that for 2.5 years, the West has been funding the rebels on record to invade from Turkey, Jordan, Iraq, and some support from Israel over the Golan. That's all on record. Yeah, there it is. Al-Qaeda chief calls for attacks on U.S. in 9/11 speech to followers. The leader of Al-Qaeda has called on Muslims to wage attacks inside the United States to wreak instability that will bleed America economically. And then you go read, Paul pointed out, by the way, this is also the head of al-Nusra, on record, that our government has been arming for 2.5 years at least. Now Obama admits it all. And so Russia comes out and says, listen, we'll attack Syria if you can prove. We'll help you if you can prove they launched chemical attack. But we've tested it. It's the rebels who stand to gain to have you come in and bomb everything, and you know that. You probably told them to do it. And they go, oh, no, that's not true. And he says, well, fine. Bring the UN in, whatever. If they have legal chemical weapons in Syria, everybody has them. Israel has them. We'll just give them up. And Obama goes, I'll take your peace deal, but I'm still going to go ahead and bomb you. That's in the news. So the Russians go, well, that's no deal. So then they get on the media here and say, oh, the Russians withdrew the deal. Do you understand that? Now they're saying Iran has to give up its weapons or they'll strike Syria. It's like if your neighbor doesn't quit beating his wife, we're going to blow up your house. I mean, it is just insanely criminal what Obama is doing.
The world is discovering the power of medicinal silver to fight against life-threatening pathogens. And as a result, dozens of silver solutions have emerged. You can even make your own colloidal silver at home in your garage. How do you know which solution is the safest and most effective? Supernatural Silver is a new patented technology that is made using 10,000 volts of AC current. This technology is so powerful, it must be made in a laboratory. Colloidal and ionic silvers use a charge of only 110 volts of DC current, making Supernatural Silver hundreds of times more effective against viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural Silver liquid can be used internally, and our silver gel can be used topically. To find out more information on how Supernatural Silver can help you win the war against deadly pathogens, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SAFE for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Protecting your home with a security system is a must. But when it comes to protecting your family, your home, and belongings, there's no need to sign a long-term contract. Listen, there is some real scum in the alarm business, cashing in by locking you into long, punishing contracts. Not with Simply Safe Home Security. They're the good guys. You can trust Simply Safe to protect your family. Simply Safe was created by a Harvard Business School engineer, and it's revolutionary. You'll get 24-hour protection for just $14.99 a month. There are no hidden fees and no contracts. You'll save thousands. Plus, you're protected by their 100% money-back guarantee. Protect yourself against home invasions and break-ins. Order your Simply Safe system now and receive a wireless keychain remote, a $25 gift, free. So don't waste your time dealing with scum. Visit GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com. GetSimplySafe.com.
It's hurricane and wildfire season again. Why do thousands of people sit in these reoccurring problem areas year after year, betting their lives that the disaster won't get them? Hundreds of you helped eFoods Direct ship 50,000 donated meals to the Oklahoma victims. The problem is we can't help everybody. If every one of us who can will take care of ourselves, we can all pitch in to take care of those who really can't. The new Just In Case pack from eFoods Direct is the big brother to the 7-day emergency pack designed for Oklahoma disaster donations. It contains a 2-month supply for one person, or a 1-month supply for 2 adults, or a 2-week supply for a family of 4. The $320 price is $50 less than retail. Call 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Order 2 or more, get 10% off, free shipping applies. Call 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soap that is triple concentrated and made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog and buy American-made products. Order the sampler, a 1 to 2 month supply, or get a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now. This is an amazing deal, and you will love the way real soap makes your skin feel. Call 1-800-340-7091 or visit www.5starsoap.com. Alex and his staff have used these earth-friendly, pure soaps for years. See them on the web, www.5starsoap.com, or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center and the heart of the resistance, rallying patriots worldwide. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
By the way, in the last half of the next hour, we're going to have in studio members of a major pro-Second Amendment group here in Texas, where we broadcast from worldwide, Texas Open Carry, where all over the state they're arresting people that legally and lawfully open carry. And we had reporters downtown where this happened twice on Friday, including a combat veteran in a wheelchair. And they even read the police. Our reporter, Jakari Jackson, this made national news. The Blaze, and people picked it up. It didn't give us any credit. I don't care as long as the Second Amendment gets defended. And we covered it. The video's up on Infowars.com. And the police said, we don't care what the law says. We're officers. We can do whatever we want. That's what they tell them now. That's what Nixon said. It's like the president can do whatever he wants. Doesn't matter what the law says. I heard the Austin police chief a couple weeks ago on 590 AM, our local affiliate, on with the morning crew there, saying, well, if a police officer gives you an order, you do it even if it's wrong and you won't get hurt. I mean, that's like what they say, you know, get in the car and you won't get hurt, or, you know, here's the candy, here's the puppy dog. I mean, it's just like, you hear something like that and it's like, wow, so there's no unlawful order. Of course, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, common law, jurisprudence, it all states, and it's on the books in all 50 states, that you have a right and a duty to protect yourself if a police officer is endangering your life outside of their sworn oath and duty. And there's many cases of rogue cops that people have had to deal with, and you don't go to prison for that. I mean, it's not like they're God. They're the Queen of England, the King of England, and so you do something to them, they're infallible. The King of England's not been infallible since 1215, since the Battle of Runnymede. And if the King of England's not infallible, is a cop infallible? And we're not here to bash police, folks. They've been very resistant to a lot of the New World Order programming and takeover stuff that's happened. But it is really creepy to see police all over the country arrest people with cameras in public and charge them with eavesdropping when that's not eavesdropping on record. They don't care. You can beat the rap, you can't beat the ride. It is official oppression. And to see police choke pro-liberty protesters that protest on the street corner, and we've interviewed folks that's happened to. I mean, it really shows an authoritarianism. And when we get to the next segment, I'm going to show where it's coming from the top. And we, the people, need to rein this in. Only a free people will be free. Only people that stand up and demand their rights will be free. If you lay down, folks, you will ensure tyrants take over. Now, let's get into Obama's incredible lies on Syria.
And President Putin has become your unlikely partner in this. And, you know, even in this op-ed, which has stirred up a lot of controversy here in the United States, he said there's every reason to believe that the rebels are the ones who use the chemical weapons. So does that tell you he's willing to lie to protect Assad?
Well, nobody around the world takes seriously the idea that the rebels were the perpetrators of this attack.
He wrote it in the New York Times.
Well, I understand. What I said is nobody around the world takes seriously the idea that the rebels perpetrated this attack. Now, what is true is that there are radical elements in the opposition.
All right, let's stop there.
Including folks who are affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
So, Kerry, I mean, let's go over just 30 seconds of lies here. It's a 7-minute clip. It'd take all day to cover it. But many of you saw it or heard it when it took place this morning with Snefanophilus and his little cohorts there. Snoofanopoulos, or whatever his name is. George Snoofanopoulos. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, there are people all over the world doubting it. The rebels bragged they launched the chemical attacks. The U.S. military's on record saying they believe they launched the attacks. I'm going to go to those articles in a moment. Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, the senator, Pat Buchanan, Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck. I mean, you name it, are questioning it. The U.S. military, as I said, is questioning it. The Russians tested it last year, this March, and then again this time, and put out reports saying it's clearly gas used by Al-Qaeda. It's homemade, not what the Syrian government legally and lawfully has, just like France, just like Israel, just like everybody else. It's just illegal to use them under treaty. A treaty, by the way, Syria is not even a signatory to. Neither is Israel. And both sides have said when they sign it, they'll give them up or they'll be part of that. So there's lie number one. Here's the problem covering each lie is it's just there's too many. The big one, though, is saying that no one thinks that the rebels may have used the chemical weapons. In fact, can you back that up? I want to play that one more time because there's actually 3 lies just in the first 30 seconds of that. And this is head spinning to sit here and deal with this.
Around the world takes seriously the idea that the rebels were the perpetrators of this attack.
He wrote it in the New York Times.
Well, I understand. What I said is nobody around the world takes seriously the idea that the rebels perpetrated this attack. Now, what is true is that there are radical elements in the opposition, including folks who are affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
Affiliated?
Who, if they got their hands on
All right, let's stop right
weapons,
there. John Kerry said a week and a half ago at the G20 meeting in Russia, in St. Petersburg, he said that no one believes that there are any Al-Qaeda or radicals in the group. And he said it days before that in the House and the Senate committee, forcing Putin to call him a liar and laugh at him because the Pentagon says it's 60% Al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, and other groups. And so does the Council on Foreign Relations. I have a new report out today saying 50%. The point is they're the main force. They're the ones our governments are arming. So now Obama has at least been forced to admit to that because everybody knows it. See, they count on you being ignorant to get away with these lies. Now, let's go over some of the headlines. Obama's Syria deal does not mean U.S. won't strike Iran over nuclear program. Now, the deal is they'll give up the weapons if they will pull back the rebels, that's what they've been asking for, and won't bomb them. They'll end the war. And that they'll even have international talks and bring in elections and new leadership. Assad knows that's his only hope. He's got to go. But the West wants to put Al-Qaeda in to turn it into another Islamic state. They want to take down all secular states, including Egypt, where our government's siding with the Al-Qaeda people against their government. So there's that. So imagine they go, okay, Russia, you want to make a deal? We'll let you turn the weapons in, but we're not going to make a deal. Knowing the average American doesn't understand the basics of diplomacy. I mean, this is seen as so evil worldwide. Here's another one. If the Syrian talks are to progress, the U.S. will have to include Iran. And they're now saying the West may strike Iran instead of Syria. See, Obama wants a war to distract from losing, in some polls, 10 percentage points a month. I mean, he is going to be at like, a 10% approval rating in 6 months if this continues. I mean, he is in free fall. They need a war, folks. They want a war, and they're like, okay, we can't have Syria. How about Iran? I mean, it's war, 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 war. So we're going to come back, break this down, then get into the attack on the First Amendment.
The world is discovering the power of medicinal silver to fight against life-threatening pathogens. And as a result, dozens of silver solutions have emerged. You can even make your own colloidal silver at home in your garage. How do you know which solution is the safest and most effective? Supernatural Silver is a new patented technology that is made using 10,000 volts of AC current. This technology is so powerful, it must be made in a laboratory. Colloidal and ionic silvers use a charge of only 110 volts of DC current, making Supernatural Silver hundreds of times more effective against viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Supernatural Silver liquid can be used internally, and our silver gel can be used topically. To find out more information on how Supernatural Silver can help you win the war against deadly pathogens, go to supernaturalsilver.com. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code SAFE for 20% off and like us on Facebook.
Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You you have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Every 3 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity theft. We also hear news stories every day about the NSA spying on U.S. citizens. It is now more important than ever to protect yourself and your information on the web. PrivateInternetAccess.com is a virtual private network service that can encrypt your internet connection while hiding your IP address. Their service also provides firewall protection in order to prevent data mining and unwanted exposure. They keep no records of your web browsing history. PrivateInternetAccess.com is an American company that understands you need to protect your inalienable rights. Private Internet Access does not even log any of your traffic, period. Privacy is their #1 policy. You can use their service anywhere with an internet connection, and with one account, you can protect up to 5 devices at the same time. Go to PrivateInternetAccess.com right now in order to secure the privacy of you and your loved ones. Don't wait and allow you and your family to become victims. Visit PrivateInternetAccess.com today.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide.
All right.
It's Alex Jones.
All right, I want to finish up with the situation with Syria and Iran and then come back and get into the attack on the First Amendment here in the United States and how serious this is. Some of the other news that's up on Infowars.com, before I get back into Syria, is Diane Crash CCTV operator, the government's now being forced to admit, footage rounded up and destroyed. We knew back when that happened in 1997 that the government, the British MI6, had asked the French to hand over all the footage. And they'd lied and said the cameras had been turned off where she crashed. We knew MI6 had used commandos to kill her. We knew she was alive after the vehicle was remote controlled into the wall. We knew she told friends and family. Prince Charles says he's going to kill me if I marry an Arab. And make it look like an automobile accident. That's all on record, folks. They killed her, and the conspiracy theorists have been proven right again. How many years later? How many years ago was 1997? We're talking like 16 years ago? 16 years ago. I mean, boom. That's up on Infowars.com out of the Sunday Express News in England. So that's just some of the news up on Infowars.com. Also, I had it reposted up on the site, the video dealing with the fact that firearms are being confiscated from Texans that are totally legal and lawful, and it's happening all over the country, basically under federal training that as long as the feds say it, well, if the feds told God to sit down and shut up, God would do it because they're actually God. Okay, let's go over the stack of Syria news and the different ways that they've been contradicting themselves. So Obama says, turn your weapons in, it doesn't matter. And the rebels will take your country over and kill every Christian in it because, that's what you do to get a peace prize. We're still going to attack you one way or the other. So that's out of the Jerusalem Post. Continuing here. He says Iran should not misinterpret U.S. response to Syria. What, the fact that our own military and our own chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff have all come out and said this is a horrible idea and a war crime, and it's now an open secret that you run al-Qaeda? Amazing. Continuing, he rejects criticism of shifting Syria policy, says, I'm less concerned about style points. So now they're trying to spin the fact that they're floundering all over the place. Continuing, Putin is now going to travel to Iran for nuclear strategy talks on building peaceful nuclear reactors in the country and selling high-tech weapon systems to Iran. So this is starting a new arms race, which I'm sure will make the military-industrial complex happy to get our tax money. Also, here's another report out of the Jerusalem Post saying Syria transported chemical weapons to Iraq last week, when Iraq is still run by the CIA and the Pentagon. I do not buy that for a minute. Continuing, Kerry is threatening, saying, I don't care what you hear in the news, Syria, he told AP. Get ready to be hit. The threat is real. Now, military.com is coming out with the Pentagon saying we do need 45,000 to 75,000 troops on the ground to secure the weapons. And see, that's what Kerry said. He said, oh, well, if Syria implodes, then we'll have to go in. But our resolution calls for boots on the ground, but we're not planning that. The official strategy the entire time has been to implode Syria and break it in multiple pieces, and to give Turkey a piece, Israel a piece, Iraq a piece, Jordan a piece. It is completely immoral and is a war crime, and the West started it, and we're paying for it, and our name is paying for it. This is on us, folks. The good news is only 9% of Americans support it in a Reuters poll, and our military doesn't support it as well. But you heard Obama on Stephanopoulos' show, what is that, Meet the Press, say that no one doubts our story. Everyone's for it. Even though reality is the opposite, lying to you to keep the facade going that you're all alone in opposition to this war. Now, continuing here from Al Jazeera. Syria rebels made own sarin gas. Russia hands evidence to UN, which its envoy says indicates Syria opposition used chemical weapons. That was in July of this year. It's a flashback. They tested it after the March attack. And by the way, the Al-Qaeda people on established Al-Qaeda YouTubes, well, they shut our YouTube down if somebody says a cuss word, but Al-Qaeda can have YouTube channels. They uploaded the video screaming, Allah Akbar, Osama bin Laden, America, you're next. I've played that audio here, the Arabic, with the subtitles. Okay, I mean, there's no doubt they launched it last year, March, and then 3 weeks ago. Here is the article from Infowars.com, a new one from Friday. U.S. military, Al-Qaeda rebels produced sarin gas for chemical attack in Syria. That's Kit Daniels Friday night, and guess who it links to? World Net Daily got a secret document, and they have the highest credibility in my book. They just continue to break big national stories. You don't think there's whistleblowers anymore that are willing to risk their lives? Folks, we break big stories all the time with federal and state whistleblowers. This is a Pentagon whistleblower. Gave them a classified document that's in the article. U.S. military confirms rebels had sarin. Classified document shows deadly weapon found in home of arrested Islamicists planning to use it in Syria, ladies and gentlemen. And then it was homemade, chlorine gas type, exactly what the experts have been saying for 3 weeks. Yeah, Al-Qaeda wants America to come in and bomb the country so they can win, because the Russians and the Syrian military that have overwhelming support. Most polls we've seen in the international press by Syrians living abroad is over 70% support. Even though Assad wasn't popular before this, the head opposition, who isn't Al-Qaeda, in London 2 weeks ago said an attack on Syria is satanic. In fact, show that in Reuters. I want to show viewers. We're also on TV. If you want to go to Infowars.com/show, you can find the video feed. A week and a half ago, said, I don't support Assad. Neither do I, by the way. I studied the situation. Sure, I'm sure they could have something better. You know, George Washington, but he ain't around for the job, folks. The point is that even the main real opposition leader came out and said, this is horrible, we're putting al-Qaeda in to murder everybody that isn't al-Qaeda. They even kill Sunnis that aren't hardcore enough for them, folks. They're at a Syrian conflict, opposition leader Haytham al-Manyan criticizes plans for U.S. military intervention as satanic because it's going to hand it over to people many times worse. There you go. It's immoral to start the fight, to go in, to try to destroy the country, and to kill hundreds of thousands of Christians worldwide, Islamists have in the last decade. Tens of thousands of the 200,000 are dead have been Christian. 2 million Christians have fled. And there's video online every day of Christians having their heads chopped off that the news will not cover. They are blowing up and burning every church, destroying every Christian village. They say, come out on video. I've seen the videos. And we won't kill you if you convert. When they do come out, they rape the women. They chop up little children. I mean, Al-Qaeda is about as bad as I can imagine. I mean, they are... You look at these people's eyes. I mean, these people are scum. I have never seen a group of more degenerate scum. Just looking at them and how they act and how sick they are, and eating hearts and burning churches and chopping nuns' heads off, and after they rape them. And because, see, it's okay to... Yeah. Oh, by the way, they're now saying they're going to invade with ground troops, as I said, if they have to secure the chemicals, quote. And so the boots are made for walking over the Christians. That's right. The big red one, I guess, from the army is going to march in with al-Qaeda to murder all the Christians. So this song is for Obama and al-Qaeda. I guess I'm not patriotic unless I support them. So I salute al-Qaeda and Obama.